of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Beichman?
Present.
Biesinger?
Present.
Voss?
Present.
Ekis?
Present.
Fry?
Present.
Gross?
Present.
Stoller?
Present.
Trom? We have quorum.
All right, thank you very much. The first item is approval of minutes from the September 25th meeting. Does anyone have any amendments? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to approve as presented.
Move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting, September 25th of the City Council.
Second.
For September 25th.
Oh.
September 25th?
Yeah, 25th.
Did I say
Thank you.
Did I mumble?
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Seven.
Present. I wasn't here, so I don't feel like I should be voting on the minutes. All right.
601. Present. Absent. Okay. All righty. The first item is public comments. If you are not on the agenda, you're welcome to come to the podium, give your name, address, and your ward, please.
I'm Shane Edwards. I think it's Ward 3, Nikki Gross and Kevin Throm. They want to make the alley behind my house one way for the new bank. I'm not in favor of this. I've talked to my neighbor Nancy also. She is not in favor of going one way. She'd like it to be both directions on that alley still. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing your feelings on that and being aware of what's going on. Anyone else? All right, move along. The first one up is the Sunflower Credit Union, the alley proposal. Is someone coming on behalf of the credit union?
Start? Go ahead.
All right. Tony Deaver, CES Group.
Tim Warner with CLH Architects. We're the designer of the project.
We're kind of helping design the building and the site. And so one of the requests tonight, we went through the Planning Commission earlier this month. And one of the requests for the site was to change the alley to the south to one way. And the reason for that is the drive-through to the bank and some parking area on the south would be accessed from the alley. That was the desire. The existing alley is 12 foot wide, so it ain't wide enough for two-way traffic. And there's some utilities on the west end of the alley that prohibit going wider with it. So they can make it wider in the area where they're building, but to the west, there's utilities that can't be moved or would not be prohibitive to move. So that's what generated the request that if it was one way, then it's wide enough for traffic to flow safely.
I drove down there and the electric poles, are they going underground along that alley? Or will they stay where they are?
On the north side are going underground.
Yeah.
On the north side of the alley? All those along there will be underground? Okay.
Or move to the opposite side, is that correct?
Yeah, or the line could be moved to the poles on the south side. But those poles will be eliminated.
And it was a gas, I believe it's a gas.
Can't remember what the pressure
Pipes
reducer or
that stick
something.
about that high above the ground that are significant.
On the west end?
Yeah.
That's your limiting factor?
Yep.
Okay.
Did you get an answer out of that? I heard yes, you'd have it on the north side, then I heard you say you could change it to the south side, and then I heard you say you weren't going to do it at all?
I don't know if there's a final answer about whether the AT&T is going to go underground or just move it. They could move it to the Westar poles on the south and leave it overhead.
In either case, all the poles are going
Yeah.
away. But some of the utilities may go underground and some may move to the poles across the alley.
So are there poles on both sides of the alley? Okay. All right, well, we should probably deal with the one-way traffic. They have two requests, I believe, so let's deal with the one-way traffic. How do you guys feel?
I think it ought to be left two-way.
I do too.
I think you should too.
Two-way.
It's similar to the other alleys in town, and You just look to see if anybody's coming before you turn into the alley.
I'd rather leave it one way.
I can tell you, it's not similar to the rest of them. If you, and you've been down there to see it, you're standing in that alley, the alley is more narrow in that block than it is, say, to the east. It's a lot wider when they redid it. And we would go double wide, but that's a gas main from Kansas Gas. They're not going to move it. That's where that pressure relief valve is.
If you widen that alley, however wide the alley is, which I'm thinking you're trying to go, what, 20 feet? If you were trying to widen that alley?
I'd have to ask them.
From edge to edge of an alley, there's a 4-foot easement that would have to be on either side. No matter what size this alley is, it's a 4-foot easement on either side. Just to let you know.
Yeah, and that's where you place your utilities, correct?
Before utility gas.
But that also takes it up onto people's private property now. Because at 12 feet, it goes 4 foot on either side, and you're gonna go up further into their lawn or into their yard if you widen that.
I think we would mostly widen north on
the north side?
their
On
property.
their property?
Yeah, we would not impair anything to the south.
As shown, it's 4 feet from the property line, correct, or
Yeah.
5 feet? I don't remember what that dimension was.
Yeah, that, what's shown in the drawing, I think you guys have, it matches the existing south edge of pavement.
Okay, what is the big swoosh here on the bottom side of this? What is this? This big
That's a
cut
grass
in?
area.
What is it?
It's grass.
Yeah, so between the sidewalk and the street, there is grass currently, and we're leaving that in its
You're not
current
changing that?
configuration.
That's on the
Okay.
east side of the
Yeah,
lot.
that's on
The
Fifth
sidewalk's
Street.
on the west side of that grass area.
Can I just ask a quick question? Yeah, I noticed you have 20 feet between the sidewalk and the front of the building. You could have moved the building a little bit farther north to get a driveway on your property. Why did you choose not to do that?
We could fit a wider, a 2-lane on the back side of the property, but it wouldn't connect. So the limiting factor is to the west. The lane that travels from
You're going to bottleneck on the
4th
west
Street,
end.
from 4th Street.
You're going to bottleneck because there's no way, you'd have 2-lane going right into a Kansas Gas and Heat. That's why we can't expand north or south, because you got Westar's fence right on the alley, on the west end.
But what
Okay.
other traffic is on this alley besides the neighbors and you and the credit union?
That's it. Since we have the entire northern half of the block, nothing's there except us. Now the south half, you got Westar Energies, I don't know what you call that, substation, or whatever you call that thing, the apartments, and then the 2 homes.
Chief Ackerman, you keep saying "we." Are you part of this?
I'm on the building committee, yes.
Okay,
I used to be on the board of directors, and now I'm on the building committee.
okay, didn't know that, thank you.
You think you're gonna have that much traffic that you're gonna just need a one-way street through there?
With the drive-through on the side of the building, yeah, this is the first time we've had to have a drive-through. We have, have we done community yet? We're not just, you know how the credit union used to be specific to places of businesses like the city of Marysville, Union City, Railroad. We're now a community credit union for the 3 top counties here in the state. And yes, they're expecting a huge influx membership and use of, and we'll also have a 24-hour ATM on the side of the building as well.
Okay, I see that you recognize that there's a cut-in already in the middle of the block, and that takes you to,
That's why the building was designed to put it where it's at, so we didn't have to interfere with what the city already built when they did that street.
okay, you own this entire half block. So why not, you could also make it come in this way, and then you could use part of that half a block to turn around and take them back out onto Broadway, on your own property.
We've looked at that, and it's not what we're looking to do with the property. It's something, there's 2 other lots there, and if we decide that another business that they like, then the board can decide to sell that to another business. That way they're picking their own neighbor that way. You'd be destroying a lot of area feasible for another business if we do something like that.
Well, like the mayor said, why couldn't you go ahead and move the property further north? And you think there's not room for you to move if you came into this park, yeah, well, it's two ways anyway. But if you made your parking lot here on the south, on the east end, if you made that one way, then you could bring them in one side and turn around and take them out the other side, which puts them back out on the alley, but it doesn't make it have to be one way.
But when you come to a parking lot, you got people that don't obey your one way over here across the street. They're not gonna obey that. I mean, it's built wide enough to be a two-way for a reason. You know, if somebody wants to come out that way or come down the alley from that and they decide to go inside, they can still turn right into the parking lot.
Okay, so you're saying they're not going to observe this anyway?
It's like, you know,
So how do you figure-
people only obey signs when they want to.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity, did you look at putting the drive-through on the east side as well, to
We
lift
have
people on
looked
that side? I figured you looked at all the
I
options.
can't even tell you how many different designs in
Yeah.
the last several months we've looked at.
Ultimately, what it comes to is at some point, people who pass through the property need to either get out this way or this way. And we investigated several things. One, you called the trash.
We want to know
people
what the flow of the trash
What the normal
trucks
flow
were,
of trash trucks
because
was.
they all flow east through there, is what Kevin told us.
And so by doing that, people can come in this way and flow out that way. They can come in this way and flow out that way. It all flows in one direction. And if we would have had, if we didn't have the gas impeding progress on this side, we could have used our property, we could have easily, I mean, we've got room, use our property to have two-lane all the way through. But because that gas main is there in the corner, it stops this from functioning as a full two-way alley. And a half two-way alley doesn't serve any purpose in that respect, because you're losing, they're eventually, if for instance it were two-way here, at this point, they're basically stuck. There's no way to turn back, because this is one way. They could come in here and out, you know, so this portion could be two-way. But once you get to here, you've basically boxed people in if someone's coming this way and there's traffic that only flows that way. So that's kind of why we were stuck with where we were.
So if you got 3 people coming through the drive-through, and all of them are gonna have to turn east, they're gonna have to wait on each other?
Yeah, and there are really two lanes of drive-through. One is a bypass lane in case someone turns in there.
That helps out too,
Doesn't
doesn't it?
need, yeah, and so all of those, in theory, they should be coming out one at a time at least. They should.
In theory.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So if someone's using the ATM and the other person's using the drive-through, and then it's possible they could.
So it goes window drive, ATM drive, and pass through.
It's possible that 2 people could finish what they're doing at the same time, and yeah, they would need to wait on each other to turn.
Has anybody talked to the gas service about moving that?
I have not.
Didn't talk to your neighbors either, don't sound like it.
Oh, that's wrong. That is not right. Our manager called and everybody was in agreement until just a few minutes ago. That's the first we've heard of, we don't want it.
Well, it wasn't a few minutes ago, well, that you maybe learned, but I went door to door and talked to them. I didn't get a yes.
I don't know where it came from because our manager called them.
Well, maybe they thought it over.
They may have changed, I don't know.
I think you ought to talk to gas service and see what if they've moved that.
I can't imagine what it even cost to move a big name like that with a
It's not even that, it's at the way station or whatever that is on the south side. That's a big deal. That's,
That doesn't need to be moved.
substation.
It's that gas on the
That's
north
West Star
side, there's a
Energy.
bleeder valve or something there on it.
okay, so this is not indicating that you want to widen it on both sides? It looks to me like there's 2 dotted lines down both sides of the alley indicating
Those are easements.
those are easements?
Property lines or easements?
Yeah, those are property lines.
Property
Existing
lines.
property lines.
Okay,
And then the easement would go on the other side, onto their property
As well.
line for gas and that sort of thing, right?
Have you thought of putting a stop sign after your drive-through, I'm sorry, a left turn only sign there? So that your people are forced to go east and you don't have to worry about the tight connection on the west side?
Yeah, you can control our traffic then to only go one way. Now, if someone was going the other direction, they would basically run into them. I mean, they would have to back up.
It's not wide enough
At
now
that point.
to meet type
Well,
car.
they're going to be able to see if someone's coming. Some of the other alleys, I drove all the other alleys in the commercial business, and sometimes there are large semis completely blocking the alleys on down east from you, and people manage.
Yeah, they just don't go down the alley.
That's right.
This is actually part of the business that we have to get them to the alley. This isn't somebody unloading stock.
But they can easily make a turn to the east
Not
to get
that
out.
this is necessarily a pro or a con, but do we have any estimate what a traffic count, daily traffic count is on an alley, let alone this alley? I mean, there's no figures on that available,
We
are
would be
there?
generating it really. This project would generate the traffic for this alley.
I'm just wondering how much interference traffic, if it were to be two-way.
I just don't think it's been that high profile of an alley before, because there were homes there on the north side
Right.
before, and for I don't know how many years now, there's been nothing.
Well, instead of rearranging their entire plan, our question presented to us is whether it's to allow a one-way alley there. So with that being said, would someone like to entertain a motion? If you feel like we've had adequate discussion?
Okay, you can't make a negative motion, so my motion would have to be to approve this.
Okay,
Move to approve the one-way alley, west to east, between 5th and 4th Street, half a block south of Broadway.
is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Is there any further discussion?
Discussion.
One,
Go ahead.
Okay,
I've spoken with the people who live on the alley. They do not want it. It is going to most affect them. So I believe I would have to vote on behalf of the residents that live there. I think you have plenty of land that you can redesign this, you know. Sure, it's going to cost you
She wants
more.
to redesign our entire building.
Well, you want us to approve something. You didn't come and ask us before you designed this if we wanted this alley one
We can
way.
still build it the same way, but just, the design's already been approved by the committee given by the council. Design is already approved. We have to change some parking stalls if you don't, on the back side. We can do that.
Maybe somebody should have come to us before this.
But that's not, the design isn't up to you, it's up to the building committee, or commission, whoever approved it. That's who does that.
But that was incumbent on this being a one-way alley, right?
Yes, but even if it's not, the building's not changing, some parking stalls may, but the building itself is not changing.
I'm not asking you to change the building. I'm asking you to use your land to not have to make this a one-way alley. It'd be your parking or your drive-throughs. Not asking you
If
to
we
change the
could get them to
building.
move that gas main, I wouldn't see a reason why they wouldn't give them the land to go two-way.
and that's, that'd be my discussion would be, it seems like something obviously to explore. I mean, if it's immediately shut down, then it's immediately shut down, but it'd be nice to know.
You know they're not gonna do it for free. And I
Well, no,
can tell you
nothing's for free.
what it's costing us just to move all the utilities already to the north side, or to the south side.
Well, I don't
It's
think
not a
this-
small sum of money.
No, and I don't think the city should have to pay for
Just
that.
remind them how much
No,
gas.
no, I was
they
gonna say to pay for that. No, what I'm saying is, we've already got that going, and paid for it. That's on us, that's what we're doing.
I'd say I'm a little torn on it. My number one thing, though, is precedent setting. I always worry about precedent setting. I know we've never apparently declared an alley one way, and I'm sure there's plenty of other people who would like to see alleys turned one way. So I think that's something that we need to be cognizant of. That's my 2 cents on that.
does anyone else want to share? Okay, so the vote is to allow the one-way traffic on the alley. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Raise your hand if you said yes
For what?
on the motion, the yes, one way. Just two? 2 to 5? Okay, just wanted to make sure. You must have been a strong 2, it sounded more.
Apparently.
Okay, all right, if you, decide to change something, if you decide to go to Kansas Gas, things change, go ahead and you're welcome to come back, but that's the answer at this time. Okay, and your second request is regarding the alley. Do you want to explain what you want from us? Or do you still want that?
Replace the alley?
Yeah, so that's still
Yeah.
part of it. So, So they're asking for the city to replace the alley. We've included the cost in the proposal. The objective being to bring the whole block up to the new standard that is being created by the new building, new infrastructure, new, just basically refurbishing that block and making it a much more eye-appealing area. And that having the alleyway new as well would help with drainage, it would help with the appearance of the site and create a uniformly new appearance to this area, which we feel is an asset to the city.
Is it drainage a concern now? Austin, do you know?
I'm not sure. I haven't been out there to see it.
Okay, I was just,
Or you would say drainage, if you've been down to look at it, it's all broken up. The sidewalk, or maybe the alley is, it's not going to drain.
okay. I was just wondering if there was something
We've
specific.
had to elevate the building a bit to make sure we get the proper drainage that was given to us, so.
Okay. So, questions?
The 33,000 is concrete for the whole block? Is that what the?
Correct. Yep.
Is that?
That's because it's not a full width of a regular alley, it's just a narrow alley.
Is that reasonable?
I mean, sounds about right, yeah.
Okay.
First question I'd have, is there anything underneath that alley a person would want to work on, or the city would want to work on while it's up?
Oh, yeah, gas line.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, I would want things coordinated. I definitely wouldn't want to see us in 3 years coming back and
The
tearing up
gas,
a new alley.
the water line comes off of Broadway, right?
Broadway.
Yeah, and then there's sanitary sewer back there.
You said sewers in the alley.
Yeah, sanitary's in the alley.
I mean, that would be, I don't know what kind of shape it is. I'm sure it's one of the,
Things to think about.
yeah.
You know, that estimate seems really high to me compared to we just did Bob, or we just shared the cost with Bob Connell, and we did 656 square feet there. And I asked Austin what the dimensions of the alley were, and he said 12 by 2, an estimate of 12 by 264.
3,000.
3,000, and, you know, Bob's cost about $60 a square foot. And this is costing almost double that.
I think they were planning on us doing the work though, paying to have it done. See, Connell did it himself,
Oh, did Bob lay that himself?
yes.
I didn't know.
He
really.
did the grading and the digging and everything there and put it himself. We didn't do anything.
We just paid half of the concrete.
Have the
We
materials.
just paid half the concrete.
materials.
We didn't pay to have the alley redone. I think that's what they're wanting us to do, is redo the whole alley.
And it was called a repair.
And I guess our only other precedent of late to compare to would be the Casey's store. You know, when the Casey's came in, they actually laid a new street for us. And then we picked up the remainder of Carolina to make it nice. But when they were exiting onto Carolina, they actually paid for that. So those are the only two recently things that we've done. I do want to point out that they have come in, and you, just correct me, you haven't asked for anything regarding water, sewer, anything else related to this project, right? And and you have no tax abatements or anything for this project?
What's that called?
Neighborhood redevelopment?
Revitalization is filed.
You have filed that?
Sure.
Okay, but that's the only thing that you have right now?
Yeah, we haven't come to the city for anything at all.
Okay, so I would point that out as well. It will be an improvement to the area. The big question is, I kind of hesitate because I know that not all of our concrete streets are in good condition.
Well, and driving the alleys, that is one of the better alleys currently.
It is.
It's one of the better alleys.
There is nothing wrong with the west end of that. East end has got some cracked, it's not all disintegrated like so many alleys.
With the amount of traffic growing, I think you will see that. That's why we're redoing the entire half block and all these sidewalks as well. You're spending a lot of money to put this building and cover the whole half a block. We want to make it look like it was a whole project.
Would it be true to say that you were more worried about the driveway east on the alley, not as far as the eastern 2/3 of the alley versus the western third? I mean, the part where it's next to the new construction. Well, right.
I just spoke to Mr. Edwards. He lives on the corner there, right on the south east edge of that alley, he doesn't have a drainage problem. I just talked to him sitting right there.
That may be, but I'd have an engineer look at it first, is what I would do, if you're gonna put that kind of money into it.
Well, but you're making a statement here that there's an issue, and even right where it's broken
The only statement that
up.
I made was we're worried about drainage because part of it is broken up. You can see cracks all the way through it where grass is growing up.
Okay.
I never
well,
said there was a problem yet.
If you're putting this bank here is going to increase the traffic to the point that it's going to deteriorate this alley more, then that's more reason for y'all to front the money.
I don't think so. I thought, my personal opinion is we pay a sales tax for improvements to the city. And I can tell you, there'll be eventually a lot of sales tax paid for that.
Well, I know there's a lot of businesses currently sitting where they're sitting, like Feldcamp, like Mike's OK Tire, that are on the other side of the highway, because we have a half block in the middle. It would be the equivalent of what you're talking about on the south side. An alley like this, you're fortunate that there's concrete there. On the other side, it's broken up asphalt, and there's many businesses that go, the theater, Citizens Bank, they back up to an alley which would be equivalent on the north side as to what you have on the south side. Many are in much, much poorer condition than
I
this
would
alley
agree.
is.
The alley that's behind my building is terrible. We got potholes, they fill them continuously. We get shoved down to a list, but how many of these businesses have asked to replace their stuff downtown? I mean, we did it for the alley just east of us. That whole alley's been concrete when Dank was there.
Tony, is it about $100 per square foot to do concrete? Does that sound right to
I
you?
usually use 80 or 70 a square yard,
70 a square yard.
9 square feet per square yard.
It's 110
Square foot.
That includes the excavation and everything, or just the concrete?
Excavation.
Okay. I think we've set the precedent with the car wash, and I would maybe go for half, but I don't, again, I think given...
Now, when you say half though, are you saying half the material cost? Because that's what we did for Bob.
Oh, that's all.
And the other thing is, we did not do the whole alley, we just did the one that was adjacent to his property.
That's true, but this is all their property.
Yeah.
Would be
I understand,
counter-
but
I'm
it's
just
not all
playing devil's
developed.
advocate.
I know, I'm just trying to figure out
Sure.
what is comparable at this point, you know.
Right. Did Bob request half of material, or did he request half the cost? What was the verbiage?
Well, he came in
He
requesting
requested
all of
half.
it.
Well, that's right. But did we negotiated, I think, for half of the cost, and he said, I mean, that's what I'm trying to figure out was, did he ask for it to all be done, and then he did it himself to save his own cost, and then by
No,
default saved us?
he just asked for the concrete in the first
Okay, I couldn't
place.
remember. Okay.
He didn't ask for the rest. He was gonna redo that so he could come into there on his own. And then he just wanted the concrete.
And we're obviously not the only ones benefiting from this. It was such a big deal. The neighbors would have the new alley and so the apartment building.
That's the key, yeah.
Well, they're not complaining about the alley as it is, and like I said, it's in better shape than most of them are. And you will benefit 50% from your building and from the sale of the rest of this block for another business, because it
If
will
we sell,
improve.
there's no guarantee we can sell. Right now, it's not being sold.
Okay, but it will in time. I mean, you'll use it somehow in time. And even if you don't, it benefits you 50% and the homeowners on the other side 50%.
I think at some time we have to start looking at improving businesses when they come in.
Well, this is a business transferring out of right downtown. This is not bringing a new business into town.
It's making it a lot easier to get in and out of.
It's bringing a lot more customers to town. Like I said, we went community-wide now. We're 3 counties wide. We're no longer just right here in Marysville.
So you're saying you have the business in 3 counties, there's not another
If you live
savings
in any of
alone?
those 3 counties, you live in, drive through, or worship in any of those 3 counties, you can now be a member of the credit union.
If you belong to what, the railroad? If you work
No,
for the railroad?
that's what I said. The community is if you worship, you drive through, or you work in any of those 3 counties, you can now be a member.
As of right now.
No longer membership only
When did that happen?
this year.
Okay,
Yeah, just not too long ago.
okay.
And for that reason, that's why we decided to go to a bigger building, because it's expanding immensely.
Is anybody gonna come here out of 2 other counties? They're gonna come here to do their banking? That's
You'd be amazed how many people around, there's 2 other states that do business with us already. You'd probably be amazed all the banks here do business a long ways out. They really do.
Yeah. People bank shop more than they used to.
They do, especially when it comes time for investing money.
So if we look at it, I don't know if you're trying to compare it to Bob's or not, but if, like Bob's was 1 lot out of the 6, and they're building on 4 of the 6. So we could take 4 times what we gave Bob and offer him that, and let them do the concrete stuff. I'm just throwing a
Right.
suggestion
Well,
out.
I don't see here, they're saying, we request that the city remove and replace the existing alley per the attached plan. We would assume the cost of the concrete adjacent to the alley that is on our property, So are you intending just to do the north side? And I don't see any labor included here. You're saying you would assume the cost of the concrete. You didn't say anything about
That's
laying
this
the
up here.
concrete.
That's this up here. No, they're not
Part of the
doing,
installs.
they're not doing anything
So
on
there's-
the alley.
There is concrete that is on the, that is outside of our property. It is south of our property line.
All of the alley
Which you
would
would
be
have to put
correct.
that in anyway. I mean,
Yes.
you would have to put that in order to be able to drive across onto your property.
Yeah, I wrote that for clarity, just to show where our work stopped and what we were asking for you to start.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, the amount that we participated with Bob, if we times that by 4, that would be $7,000.
Yeah, which is quite short of the 33,000, but
I guess I'm a little torn on it. I mean, I think we should be encouraging more building and growth downtown. I think supporting, shows good faith and us having a good working relationship with the businesses and developing that. Also, I think we did set kind of a precedent. I voted against the splitting it for the car wash because I didn't think we should get in the habit of setting a precedent doing it, and we did. We set a precedent, and here we sit. So I can't really see, if we did the whole thing now, then Bob would say, oh, well, I see you're picking and choosing winners and losers. But on the other hand, I don't see, again, how we can say no, because again, we're picking winners and losers. I think we should probably hold to that. It's similar to what we do with the sidewalks. You know, I think a shared cost program to help show that we want to work with them and offset some of that expense and improves our infrastructure, improves the look and function of their business, we've got to do that. So, I mean,
I think the precedent was already set on the block east.
well, and see, I wasn't aware of the precedent because I wasn't involved in
I
that.
doubt any of you were on the council then. I mean, they did the entire thing and there wasn't a cost.
What year was that, if you had to guess?
Dank was still in business, that's all I
Yeah,
remember.
6.
So
He was
That's
after
all, I
I
have
moved
no idea what
here.
year it was.
It's got to be within the last 12
Kevin would
years.
probably know if you were.
I don't know how long Chromie's been there, I couldn't tell you.
So
I've been there 5 or 6.
I'd move that we split the cost, or okay, give me the number, 33,000 and, what was the change? $33,000 even. We split the 33,000 with the Sunflower UP Credit Union for the expense of replacing the entire block of alley between 4th and 5th Street with concrete.
I'll second that.
Where's it gonna come? Sales tax?
It's coming from sales tax, I suppose, yeah.
now, let me ask a question though. You made a statement that you didn't want to set a precedent.
I think we did.
No, but now, I'm just thinking Bob is going to say, well, why didn't you do my whole alley?
He didn't
Because he didn't own the
own
alley.
alley property.
He didn't own the whole alley. Okay, I got it,
If the
I got
house is in between and Mike can come and talk to us, then I think we'd be in the same situation.
But again, we're not, instead of $7,000, we're talking about over 15.
it.
Right.
And, well, that is true.
Bob's $7,000. That was
$16,500.
just for concrete. That didn't include having the ground leveled and the fill sand put in. That was just the cost of the concrete.
Right.
I think if this is hired done, we can be rest assured it will be done correctly. That's my motion.
So basically, we're paying for the alley on our side, period.
Yeah, you could look at it that way.
And the ones on the south aren't paying anything for the alley, but we're gonna figure out.
They're not asking for a new alley. They're fine with the way it is.
Well, north of Bob didn't ask for it, and they got a new alley too, though. I mean,
And I
No, they
go back to the
didn't.
east of
Well,
us, nobody asked for it except for
the north half of the alley behind the car wash, did
It's
we only
not
do half the alley?
We didn't even do half.
We did
We did about 2
his
lots.
lot.
Just
Well,
his
no, but I
lot.
mean the north half, split the other way. Not half the block, half the
I'm
alley.
sorry, but adjacent to the
Laterally
house.
split, yes.
Yes.
Again, they didn't want it either. They didn't ask for it. That was to make it convenient
Well, I
for
can see
his
both
business.
arguments. What I'm saying is, if we do it once, I think we should
So,
stay on that
I guess,
this year.
yeah, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any,
It was the second.
There was no second.
Oh, yeah, there was.
Oh, there was.
okay, so the motion was to split the 33,000 even, so up to 16.5.
Correct.
Okay.
To a max of
Max of
$16,500.
65. Okay, and coming from the sales tax. Is there any further discussion?
Discussion. There's nothing wrong with the west end of that alley. It just tears me up to see us go in there and tear up concrete that there isn't anything wrong with and put it on the back of the taxpayers. It's kind of like the swimming pool. When we tore up the sidewalk, we tore up 42 blocks of sidewalk. There wasn't even a crack in.
42 feet.
No, they're in squares, you know what I'm saying?
You said
There's a square-
42 blocks.
42 blocks of concrete.
Squares, yeah.
They're in squares. Okay, square's the right word. We tore those up, and there wasn't any reason for it, other than it looked better. And it makes, wheelchairs could go 3 at a time across it or something, because a man went down in his wheelchair and sat and watched that pool be made almost every day, and he never had any trouble up and down that sidewalk. It was heaved in one spot by a tree, and we tore up a whole block of squares of sidewalk. And it bothers me to tear out something when so many people have so much less, all up and down and behind the buildings on the south side of Broadway and on the north side of Highway 36.
And they should probably come in and ask for it.
Oh, let's do that.
I
Yeah,
agree.
let's encourage that.
To me, aesthetics is everything, and I agree with the pool thing you're talking about. Aesthetics are everything. You spend $4 million on a pool, you gotta spend a couple extra thousand, put a new sidewalk in, it makes it look beautiful.
There was nothing wrong with the sidewalk.
I don't care, I'm talking about aesthetics. It's the way it looks, you're right. You pay for the way it looks.
They look fine. All you've got was a
And by the
lighter
same function,
color
this
of...
alley will make your new construction look better.
I do-
That's actually a board decision, I'm not on the board, but that's if they decide to do that.
Yeah.
I do think that it's going to be a significant improvement to that area, and I think it will bring people to our town. And there is an economic benefit to the city for having it there.
Okay, and what do you think about the people who don't want it, who live right off of it? What do you
Well,
think about that?
Oh, they're
Not
getting a
paying for
brand-new alley.
They don't want it one way, they'd take a brand new
It's not
alley.
having
We're not
it one
voting on
way.
one way.
It's
We're
not,
voting on
we already
This is-
finished that
This is just
vote.
Yeah.
on concreting the whole thing, and this is a half measure
That-
versus
that-
full measure situation.
That vote is done.
Well, this is
It's
a
going to
moot
be a
point if we're not
two-way.
gonna put it in, if we're not gonna put it in.
Wait, it's a
We're not-
two-way alley. That's a done deal.
Okay.
Right.
And now we're voting to pay half, up to 16.5, for the entire alley to be put in,
If they choose to
if they
proceed.
choose to do it.
Correct.
Okay. Is there any other discussion?
I'd rather see us take care of from the drive-through east, and Sunflower Credit Union can take drive-through and take it west. That's the way I would like to see it go.
You want us to do 3/5 of it.
Well, we already have a motion.
I know.
So we're going to vote on this motion. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
No.
So is that 4-3? Who are the yeses? Please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4-3. Okay. Now, should you choose to take that option, what we have offered you is a two-way alley, and we will pay up to 16.5 to do the alley. Do you want to come back and let us know if you want us to do that?
The manager will make an appointment, we'll let you know.
Okay.
She has to take it to the board.
Mayor, can I also add that if you do have any information that changes with the gas company side of things, just in case, I think we would welcome continuing that discussion on the one-way, two-way thing. Or if there needs to be a change to this, if it's gonna expand it or change it with that, or are we not, if the alley becomes wider to the north on their property, are we just absolved of that? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm just
I
trying
mean, I
to...
don't know if that changes the dynamics of cost. If just, we're done, this is it.
Make it more expensive.
Well, I think they want to break ground pretty soon,
I
right?
didn't know,
We'll break
what's your
ground
date?
when we Do the alley, or if it
Yeah.
stays old, it stays old. But,
So-
we have really nice, crouchy alley.
Okay. Well,
I just wanna
we
make
have those
sure.
two motions.
Would you want to see If we widen the alley north onto their property, do you want easement to access easements with the public?
I'm wondering if we need to change anything with
If-
that.
Rather than part of an alley that's,
If you say that one more time?
say if we can move the gas line and widen that alley,
Okay,
which will extend onto their property to the north,
okay.
do you want access easement on that, whether it's 4 foot or 6 foot?
Well, we would have to have
That
that.
the
We have
entire
to.
drive alley is on public right of way?
Yeah. We would have to have that for access.
Yeah, for the,
For Craig, maybe I should be looking at you. The answer is yes?
Well, it seems like there's
Well, I talked to Richardson about it today.
access
He's the one that
easement
explained we
currently.
require
Okay.
easements.
The answer is yes. Okay, well, come back if you want any more answers. Okay. All right, we are going to move along. Terry Hughes, you're up.
Yeah, I'm Terry Hughes, and this
Good
is my
evening.
wife, and we're from Ward 2, and we've got an alley deal for you.
Another alley.
Well, we've talked to Partnership for Growth about trying to purchase, and we've come to an agreement of a Block 11 at 5th and May in the Palmetto subdivision, and it's got an alley we don't want. So if you could move it down to credit union, we'd sure be proud to do that. Otherwise, we want to know if you would vacate it for us, because we'd like to turn that into a green space, and there wouldn't be any place in a green space for an alley. We'd really like to.
Is there anything in that alley? Any
Not
gas,
now.
water, sewer?
No, but that's where they would go. That's where they go if it's developed.
That was the discussion before, when
Yep.
Partnership for Growth took it over.
And I think that's one of the reason why it hasn't been developed. I think people have looked at it, and it would cost a lot for infrastructure, water, sewer to put it in that space. And just to clarify, that ordinance, that vacated street, ordinance 262, so it vacated 6th Street all the way from May to North, and May to North on 6th Street, and then on North Street to that diagonal, correct?
Yes. I have
So
a
those were
copy.
already vacated.
Terry got this from Debbie last week, but this is the ordinance, and you can see it's quite lengthy. And
So is that correct? This is the vacated section?
Yeah, because it goes to this block right here.
Okay.
what that ordinance pertained to is, I believe, all of the property to the west of the Union Pacific Railroad property. And so I think it just follows all along there.
West and north.
And the railroad property angles to the northwest, so I'm kind of thinking that's why that northern one is at an angle. It might be just simply because they wanted to follow the direction of the property. But there's numerous vacations of alleys and streets in it, but the part that would pertain to this is in that 262 ordinance.
I move to request vacate alley block 11 in Palmetto as Terry Hughes requested.
Second.
So to draft one up, draft an ordinance to vacate? Okay, second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0, all right.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for providing all that information.
Yeah, thank you for what you had planned for it too, to make it beautiful, thank you.
Okay, so on storage containers, or this discussion on intermodal containers, I feel like, after thinking about this over the last 2 weeks, that our approach on this has been wrong. And ever since we started this conversation, we started looking at it as it had to be a revision of the Unified Land Development Code. And that because building permits had been issued and it's a building, and I think that what we're missing is that it's a storage container. It's not a building. And I think it should be in the city code rather than the ULDC. And that's why I came across this one for storage containers from, it's the 3-page one, and it says Chapter 18, and it's from Washington, state of Washington, Deer Park, Washington. But, and then Darlene found one from Clay Center. So the main thing about this is cargo containers are defined as not accessory storage buildings. I think that's what we were kind of looking at initially, but they're not because they're portable. So at the bottom of page 1, it says cargo containers are not permitted on property zoned residential or on property the primary use of which is residential, which solves our R3 problem. All this time we've been juggling around with this R3, but it says, or on the property where the primary use is residential. So if industrial there, it gets treated as industrial, but if it's a residential in R3, it gets treated as a residential. Then it goes on to say, that it's temporary in residentials, and it can be, on the second page, it goes on to be 30 days, and the next page, it goes on about construction, and if they're going to have storage containers, then they can be part of the city building permit. Then it goes on page 2 to say where it is allowed, which would be, in our situation, industrial and commercial. They proposed maybe that they had to have a foundation, but it goes on to say that to meet step back requirements. Something we never thought about before was that they couldn't be stacked. Another one was, on D, it specifically said it must be kept clean of all alphanumeric language and writing, which was our other thing that we were concerned about. So when I read through this, it kind of made sense. I think we were hung up on the fact that we already had building permits issued instead of looking at, are they really a building? So if you look at them and say they're really a storage container, we will handle them as a storage container, a temporary, and not an accessory building. And I think that's also where Clay Center's going at, right? Darlene, you're the one that got this one. But the one,
And they also stipulate no larger than 20 foot in length in Clay Center.
yeah, which we could obviously build that in.
And
But I think,
only one.
I think the portability of it is the key thing that we kind of were missing our approach. I don't think all our time has been wasted because we got input as far as where to put them, and the Planning and Zoning Commission also gave us their feedback. So I don't think we've made any, we've wasted any time. I just think we need to look at it, if we look at it as strictly a portable storage container versus an accessory building, I think it'll be make life a lot easier for us.
Well, and I like what they say, the purpose, to protect the public health, safety, and welfare, and promote positive aesthetics in the city.
So where would the existing permit, because we're going to address that also, so how would that be addressed?
The infamous 6 outstanding ones, I think we'd still have to,
Well, there's, on the third page, they have current violations, time to comply.
Are you talking about Deer Park? Well, it's hard to say that they're a violation because it's really our violation.
Yeah.
And so I don't think we can really hold their feet to the fire on that. But what do you guys think about this? I mean, do you think we started addressing it wrong? I think we should have always looked at them as portable.
What does council think of this option versus?
I think it's certainly one to consider, maybe simpler.
I think it's a lot simpler. We can put it in city code, and those are easy to modify too. And I thought, we could take, some of these, I think, made it a lot easier than where we were going with it. And it also brought up some additional things to consider, like the stacking. And I mean, it made it pretty clear too, shall be clean of all alphanumeric signage and writing. That makes it pretty easy to understand. So what I was going to propose, since all this was thrown at you just tonight, is since Darlene is the one that's read every single ordinance that we have talked about, maybe Darlene could work with Debbie, make a proposed ordinance for us to look at using it as a storage container. What are your thoughts?
Well, I like what it said here, the current violation time to comply. All owners within the property, owners of property within the city shall have 120 days from the effective date of the ordinance. Okay, well, this will be a new ordinance. These are people who already have them in place. We addressed this as the last meeting, saying that if they were there, they could stay there until the property sold, at which time they would have to be removed. I thought we'd all agreed on that.
Which would go along with the portability, that it's a storage container and not a building.
Right, and I agree, it is a storage container. Yeah, they're not buildings, I agree with you.
The interesting thing about this one that I was reading, it said that, if you're in a it has to be beside your business. If it's supposed to be used for business purposes, it has to be beside your business. It just can't be stuck off on an empty lot. And I like that. It has to be adjacent to your primary business.
Okay, are we still gonna make it that it has to be behind the building, as out of sight from the street as can be? Because that's what we had decided before, is that it should be back of the building.
Well, I think, how about if we let Darlene take a shot at it and incorporate where we were at the other one? Darlene, are you willing to do that? And take these two ordinances, take what you think is the best case scenario and present it to us?
Okay.
And you can send it to Craig and see what he thinks.
I'm happy to give you the most recent draft of the ordinance that I had created and sent to Dave that I think could be instructive.
Incorporated into this.
It incorporates some of the discussions we've already had, like Vicki just referenced. Obviously, it'll need to be nuanced in its format because it references the ULDC, and that would apparently be omitted. So I'll provide that to you if that's what you want.
Okay. We had sent all this to zoning. Did they come back
No,
to
they
us?
haven't met again yet. We had a meeting, and then they haven't met again, so now we're going to circumvent it and say we're going to do it to the city code rather than Unified Land Development Code, so it'd be ours. Actually, when I talked to David about it, he was like, here.
Have at it, huh?
Feel free to take it away, but I think this is the right direction for us to go on. So if you guys are all okay with it, we'll let Darlene take a shot at it, since she's...
And Debbie.
And Debbie. They'll work together. Okay, so that's enough about storage containers, and I'm sorry to throw that all at you at once tonight. Okay, I am not aware of any notices or hearings, so we'll move along to the consent agenda.
Move to approve consent agenda.
Second.
And just to let people know, the consent agenda included the city clerk's report, the municipal judge's report, revenue and expense budget reports, and a consumption request for Home for the Holidays for the Lee Dem Arts Center on December 2nd. That's what it is. Any further discussion?
I did have a question.
Okay.
I noticed a couple of our renters, Kester Block renters, are behind in rent. Have they caught up, Debbie? The one was the one individual who's renting.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then the
We're
one
working on it.
business
We're
has
working on
it.
it.
Is there one business that's behind 1 month and everyone else is current? And you're working on it?
Yes.
Is that all right? Enough information? Okay, there's been a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? 7-0. The next item is the appropriations ordinance.
I move to approve appropriations ordinance number 3660.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yes, there are some I'd like pulled for discussion. I'd like to discuss 502 Media Group, the first entry there. I would like to discuss Commercial Bank.
Now, the 502 Media one, did we approve that last week in the consent agenda?
Okay, well, I want to ask,
It was actually a few months ago.
Oh, okay.
okay, I would like to know what that entails. And is this $600, this is 1 year, right? We're not going to get a $600 bill? I'm sorry, I forget.
Yeah, it
600
says
for the
1 year on there, from 7/1/17 to
Okay,
7/1/18.
what are we getting? Web hosting, what are we getting there?
Website.
Website.
What?
And all the
Website.
pictures and stuff for convention and tourism.
What, photo
Right.
hosting?
So why do we need them?
Data hosting.
Tell me again why we need them. We don't have somebody capable of
You have
making a website?
You have to put it somewhere that's paying them to basically keep it in their repository. Is that right?
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, then I'd like to discuss the commercial bank. That's the credit card. And can I start discussion?
Sure.
Okay, I'd like to talk about the DARE program. We've got $400 and some this month on the DARE for bracelets, backpacks, $3 and something a piece for backpacks. And I'm wondering why the school shouldn't be helping pay for this. This program is for the students. Why shouldn't they help pay for products that we buy? We're buying something almost every month for that DARE program. We're providing the officer, we're providing the insurance for the officer. He spends his time at the schools, as he should, if that's what we decide to do. But I think there should be some participation by the school, and I think it should be buying these products.
What are your thoughts, Austin? Have we ever approached
We don't
them?
get reimbursed. We get reimbursed, I thought maybe some police department or some agency reimbursed us for this, and that doesn't happen. Sometimes there's donations, but there's no reimbursement.
program, it's not the
So
school.
why shouldn't they help pay for this?
Why don't you go
I
ahead and
think,
address
I
that?
think that Todd's discussed it before, and it's the city program, it's not the school's program.
As in he's went and asked.
Well,
I don't know if he's asked.
I don't know why we're helping them out in that way if they're not willing to be participants.
Right.
Seems like we're doing all the heavy lifting. I agree with you. If they think it's a valuable program enough to have it be part of their school day, then shouldn't they be participatory?
Who is heading up the DARE program?
I'm sure it's Sergeant Oldie.
Sergeant Oldie. And he goes to seminars and stuff on behalf of this. And we're paying for his education into this, to lead this DARE program. He
Maybe
probably
he
should
could
participate
come
in
and
that.
speak to us about the program.
Yeah, I was gonna say too bad Todd's left, Chief left.
Well,
Okay.
how about if we pull this then? Because like I said, there's over $400 in bills here for handouts, for things we're giving them. I mean, we buy them cups, we buy them mugs, we buy them...
I think it would be hard to do that at this.
Yeah, we can talk about future expenses, but I don't think
We can put a
Maybe
moratorium
now.
going forward
All right.
until we've had the discussion. I think,
Exploring.
All right,
but it's a good point.
all right. Then I have another thing under Community Memorial Health. That's the next item under Commerce Bank, and it's for prisoner care, $299.60. Why are we paying this when we make them, I think it should be like the court-appointed attorney. I think that they have to pay that back. Why shouldn't they have to pay this back? Craig?
What's your thoughts, Craig?
Can we do that?
We bill.
Okay, we get a guy...
Pay for his
Medical care.
medical care and
While he's in the
Medical care.
hospital.
Okay, the one,
In care.
the one I know, he stopped taking his medicine. He's schizophrenic. He stopped taking his medicine. Well, he gets there and starts having issues. He has the medicine. He's chosen not to use it. So now we have to take him, we have to pay an officer to take him to the hospital to have him diagnosed again, and he knew exactly what he was doing. You know, we had to buy his medicine. Nothing happened to him that caused him to do this. He came in with this. It's not like some other prisoner broke his finger or something in our care. This is a pre-existing situation. And now we have to pay hospital bills, emergency room. You know, he goes to the emergency room for this after hours. And, you know, he's got the medicine. We didn't cause anything. Why shouldn't he have to reimburse us, the city, just like he has to reimburse his court-appointed attorney?
what I think you're asking is probably, which I guess is a city issue, but police protocol. I think that's potentially a slippery slope to evaluate case by case when you care.
Yeah, it'd be hard to differentiate.
When you're not, and I think where it becomes problematic, and I'm sort of speaking off the cuff here, is that you, as a city, expose yourself to much greater liability if you choose not to treat somebody that you have
Oh, I'm
incarcerated.
not saying don't treat them, Craig. I'm saying treat them, but make them reimburse the city for the treatment, just like he has to reimburse the city for his court-appointed attorney. He didn't pay for that up front like somebody who gets their own attorney.
When almost everybody's required to have health insurance these days, is there any way we can arrange it so that they're, I mean, whatever coverage that prisoner has outside of prison
Oh, to cover that?
would be billed first? I mean, why are we being
Is that
billed
ever
first?
utilized?
I'm not aware, look, and I can't say with any certainty that it's a non-starter, but, I mean, I'd have to look into it. I've never heard of it, a system like that.
It's kind of
in place
interesting.
where,
If they do have healthcare insurance, it seems like we should be able to utilize it. I think that's a
Well,
good...
you have to do-
Maybe they met the deductible.
Yeah.
You'd have to do research because they're not going to tell you that they have insurance. They're not going to tell you that, especially if they have to pay a deductible, because that'll come out first before coverage.
Why don't you find out what
That's a weird
what the law is on that?
it surely is not the first time it's been
I know.
raised.
Even though it was a good question,
You know,
Dick.
concerned about prisoners.
I'm sure it's not the first time it's been raised, so
Okay.
we'll look into it.
Okay.
What else?
Mayor, while she's looking, I would like to discuss Acme Plumbing bill. It's a small bill, $125. But what it was for was Roto-Rooter, the city park dump station, and it was full of carpet sludge. And Acme Plumbing had cleaned it just a short time before that. So it appears that maybe a commercial cleaning company is dumping there. And that would be unauthorized, right? Because it's for the...
Would somebody do me a favor and define carpet sludge?
Yeah,
I'm not
me
sure what
too.
that is. Is it
Tufts.
pieces of carpet?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like when you vacuum, you
Like
get
the
those
little
tufts.
bits?
Yes, that's what I would guess.
We've had that issue several times down there.
Many years.
I lived my whole
Well, so
life and
do
not
we,
heard that term.
do we have a sign that says who is supposed to utilize that and for what purpose?
There is a sign right there. It's for the use of campers. I could have swore.
It might be.
Yeah, there's a sign right there, but the only way to really catch them is to
Trail cam.
buy or set up the trail cam.
That's true. Well, so it clogs, I just throw this out, could that be part of the reason why we have these air relief valve issues? They're not. It's not because of
No,
carpet sludge.
no, it's not.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
It goes through a grind, if it got that far, it goes through a grinder pump and gets, that's not the issue, no.
Well, is there a place for these carpet cleaning companies to dump carpet sludge?
Their own location. They need to
At their
use
own
their
home?
own, they need to use their own sewer.
Their own business.
Own business.
They're not supposed to be dumping it down.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, I
That
think
doesn't
maybe
mean
what we just need to do is notify all the carpet cleaning businesses in town that,
It's a good idea.
Well, and sure, the sign says it's for campers only and not for business use or...
well, we can say that we've incurred this
Yeah.
problem twice recently, and we just want to bring it to your attention, right? I think if you notify them, you're just trying to be proactive, and then, I guess if you see somebody doing it,
Yeah, we need to report them.
yeah.
I mean, besides the cost, it's just an inconvenience to the campers then, so if it's not working, then we're not providing
A service for them.
Or
The sign
excellent.
doesn't say anything about.
Did you look
camper
at
use
it?
only. Yeah, on Google.
What's it say?
It says sanitary station rules, rinse, basin, and something plug after every use. And that's it.
Okay, so do we need to add a sign?
Yes.
And specific?
Yes.
I think so.
I think that's a good idea. And I think we should send them a letter and just say we've had this problem and we just want to notify you, all right?
Well, should we widen that to other businesses that may be using that?
Well,
Who else would use that? Cindy? Who else could deposit down there? I know you find carpet pieces, carpet remnants,
Right, I mean,
but who else?
We have no way of knowing what carpet cleaners are dumping in there.
Oh,
We
I'm
just
saying-
know that that's the issue.
Yeah, besides carpet cleaners, is there any other stuff that comes out of there that we know that a business is dumping? Okay.
Yeah, well, we'll just contact the ones that we're aware of. It's a start, and we put a new sign. Are we going to put a sign that says specifically no,
Commercial
what are you going to
waste.
say? What are you going to say? No commercial waste?
No,
Oh, that's,
no commercial dumping for camper use only or something like
oh,
that.
that's a good idea. Okay.
Yeah, but if we do that, if we don't, is there code behind that? Because if we catch somebody, if there's not really anything that prohibits that, then do we have any really?
It references an ordinance on that sign, so I don't know if we need to
What's the
adapt. I
ordinance say?
can't read the ordinance because it's too fine print for the Google.
That's fine, you're asking, I'm just saying if we're gonna, we probably need to make sure that we can enforce it if
Will you
we.
check the ordinances and see what we have
Okay.
regarding that? And try to read what that sign says?
Sorry, not the high resolution.
Okay.
Well, couldn't we say only for the use of campers
Yeah, that's what we thought it said.
rather than,
Well, maybe we need to say specifically no if we specifically say it,
No business.
then it certainly allows us to enforce it. Okay,
Okay, one more item.
okay.
Prairie Fire Coffee Systems, $85.80 for coffee for one department. for one of our departments.
That's pretty cheap.
I think it'd be real cheap to spend $30, buy them a regular coffee pot that has a timer on it, and it'll shut off, and buy them coffee at $7 each. It'd take quite a few cans of coffee to come up to $85, and I see this on almost every bill, at least once a month.
I think it's pretty cheap.
The reason being, and this is what I think Bill's getting at, is there's also the accessory expenses of filters, and you have to either filter your water or use, in the coffee pot, you can't use a Mr. Coffee, you'll go through 3 of them a month at that kind of rate. I think you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
No. Okay, well, that's my issue. Think
And
about that.
probably, 24 hours a day, too. You need to have it.
We want them alert, that's for sure.
I would also like to...
Saves them from going to the coffee shop all the time.
Yeah, on the city vehicles.
Yeah.
Okay, I would also like to put a stop to the Gatorade. It's going to be in the 40s this week. It's going to be one day of 85, but $400 and some dollars in 1 month we spent on Gatorade. I think if it's to give them electrolytes and stuff, I think summer's over. I think we should put a stop to it until next year. I don't think they need to have
We do have
$400.
some precedents on, this is not just this year that this has been happening. It's throughout the years, at least, what was it, 10 years that you cited? Or I can't
But
remember.
was it year-round? I thought it was just for the summer months.
It's just been, they've just done it for a long time. And sometimes they get them when they're on sale too, so they.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just
Stock
think
about.
$400 in 1 month is a lot of Gatorade. And I just think it's not necessary. I just think it's not necessary. If they want to bring Pop to work, let them bring Pop to work. If they want to buy Gatorade on their own and bring it to work, fine. I think water does just fine. We're providing them water and coffee.
I think it's important, and when it's hot outside.
Yes.
Yeah, but now.
City Hall,
So now
they
that
pay
it's
for their own
cooler.
coffee. They don't have one of those coffee pots down there, and not every department has. Not every department has that.
We don't have the coffee drinkers that they have out there.
Well,
We don't have the, but
maybe I want tea. Do you want to start buying $400 worth of tea a month? I'm just saying, they're not doing that in every department. So it's not necessary for them to be able to do their job. There's other people working outside too that don't think it's necessary. They're not buying it.
What about the powdered Gatorade? I mean,
The mix,
the mix.
like igloo coolers, I think. It might save
You'd
some.
probably waste some of it though too by saying
Yeah, I
that.
don't,
My son ended up in the emergency room drinking water, lots of water.
Well, do you remember when they used to issue salt tablets?
That's a no-no.
yeah.
You can't issue any kind of tablet.
Well, you
Did
got
your company provide Gatorade?
Yeah,
Westar provided you Gatorade.
year-round?
if you wanted it.
I think the consumption probably dropped in the cool weather, but some
But they
people,
also took salt tablets away because it's illegal to dispense pills.
That makes sense.
they just put it in shakers.
Yeah. Put the Morton salt down there
They
in the
supplied it
container.
with coffee too.
Okay, all right, we're gonna go move along. The one comment I want to make is the $106,000 for Emery Sap. That's for the airport construction, and that's coming out of capital improvements, and we don't have that large a balance in there, but Austin confirmed that we wouldn't pay that till FAA reimbursed us.
FAA it'd take like a day to get their money.
Right, so you guys will just wait till that money's in hand, correct?
Pretty much.
Okay.
That's
Just wanted-
$106,733.
Just wanted to
And
clarify
we get
that.
90% of that back.
Yep.
90% of that back. Then I want to talk about one more, the electricity. Our electric bill this month was $11,351.45. I know we're replacing our light bulbs with LEDs or with compact fluorescents, but I don't see this drop. I was talking to Austin about this today, and he said, well, we've got a lot more bulbs to replace, because some
And
of them...
just the lights themselves is not gonna make a huge impact. It's gonna make an impact to, Westar just increased their rates this year. So that's, you're gonna get a false positive, I guess you can say, on it, on the bill remaining at $11,000 or wherever it's at. And again, lights, yeah, we could replace all the lights in here, go LED, that decreased the bill some, but it's not gonna do as much as replacing the air handlers, like we're gonna do next year, or replacing some of the bigger machinery that's attached to the electricity. to get that large of a drop, you're gonna have to do that. Also, we're dependent on streetlights, which we can't control. And it's, besides the decorative lights that we control.
And those lights, I talked to Dave Richardson about this today, and he said that the bulbs that we're buying from now on are plastic. Therefore, they're not subject to being broken by hail or strong wind or the things, a lot of the lights that when they go out, what it is, he said they're broken. So these will be less susceptible to elements. Okay, well, that's all I
Okay,
have.
well, thanks for keeping an eye on the electric bill.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other comments? Roll call, please.
Bikeman,
Yes.
Biesinger,
Yes.
Boss,
Yes.
Ekis.
Yes.
Fry,
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Schroller,
Yes.
7-0.
Thank you. All right. We're glad to have you back, Austin.
Yes.
Just a few items on my report. I included something we've been working on for a little bit, five-year vehicle replacement schedule. This is not we're doing this sort of thing. This is a poll of our vehicles and where we looked at replacing them. Well, one of the obvious ones is the police department. They already have a schedule of their vehicles, and so they replace one next year, and they will replace one in the next 3 years, and not in 2022. And that's how it stands right now. And you look at the street department, and just looking at the issues that each one of the vehicles have and how long we think they either should last or we could work with them, it kind of delineates from there. And I mean, you can just go through here and see all the, basically it's recommendations on going forth on vehicle purchases, and it lets everybody see the standing at which each vehicle is. It's got notes and what year the vehicle is and what it's referring to. And this is not a complete list. I asked each department to just compile for the next 5 years what they saw in replacing. There's a lot more vehicles that we have that we're not looking to replace in the next 5 years. This was just a snapshot. As you reviewed that.
I thought this was really helpful. I was really glad he did it.
I really like the
Really?
format.
I said I would like a couple additional informations, like the year that it was purchased and our purchase price, just for history, and if it is in the 2018 budget, and if they're transferring to another department, like the backhoe. So those were 4 pieces of information. He said it'd be tight to get it on the page, but I think you could do
I
it.
could barely fit this on the page.
We got to narrow your columns a
I
little bit.
do, but it removes some of the information.
Yeah.
And then we don't know if things are being transferred, just like the police department. We tried to transfer those, but next year, we're not transferring it for specific reasons. We don't know until we come to budget season to go, well, even then, but once we come to budget season, then we can make that determination.
Well, the key thing is that, to me, is like when we bought it, you have vehicle year, but I would like to know if we go into 10 years, 15, 5, and then the price that we paid, that's probably not as important, but the year we bought it is probably important. The only reason the price we paid would be important is just to understand the dollar amount we're talking about. And I understand that was when we bought it, rather than we're gonna sell it.
Yeah.
And in the budget column, you could just highlight the ones or make them bold if it's.
Which the only thing that's not
in the budget for 2018 is what?
is the, I believe it was the, for water sewer, the 2500, the Dodge Ram. I think that's the only thing
that we didn't
specifically set aside money for.
Okay.
But the street sweeper, the Chevy Silverado for the police department. Let's see what else is in 2000. Those are the only vehicles in 2018.
Okay, so like on that, going back to that Dodge Ram, So it's a 1998. Do we buy it new? That, you don't know? Yes, that's all I'd want to know, but I'm glad that most of it is in the budget. That's
Yeah.
good to know. And we should use this going forward for the budget, you know, going it forward. So it is extremely helpful. I want to, first and foremost. Thank you. You guys want
I
anything
also like
else?
to see how much that vehicle is worth that year, then the next year is just see how much it depreciates
Depreciates?
year after year after year.
Well, if you had what it cost, you want depreciated cost in there? That's a little bit harder to estimate. What?
Well, it's good information to know when you want to trade something off in 3 years. Let's just say 3 years, how much it depreciates in 3 years. And
Yeah, I guess if I saw that it was a 20-year-old truck, next year will be 20 years if we bought it new.
because we're here to get the most out of our monies if it, you know,
Hey, I'm all
depreciates
about that, Keith. Thank you.
If it
I'm
depreciates
glad to hear
more
you
than
say
1
that.
year, why wait till 5 to do it?
I'm not sure how, I mean, where would I go to get depreciation values and what system would I use, and would we have to spend more money to get that system?
I think it would help though, if you did put in when we bought it and what the cost was, at least you have some basis, rather than zero.
As far as that Dodge, we never bought a new Dodge, because we've never bought a new Dodge in anything.
So
It's always been a Chevy or a Ford.
We ever bought new
Oh, because,
department in the Chevy S2.
Yeah,
oh, you're saying because it's specifically a Dodge?
we've always bought Chevy and Fords, as far as I can remember back.
So anyway, but again, if just a little bit more information would be even better.
Well, there are, you can look up values.
That'd be a lot of work.
But that, I mean,
Most of the
there's a
ones
lot that goes into mileage and the use and.
Well, the key thing is, we're probably not going to sell a vehicle or salvage a vehicle unless it's already worn out, right? All these are going to be considered worn out for the most part.
Yeah, we're kind of the end user.
As of right now, yeah.
Yeah, except for the police vehicles that we turn, everything else we pretty much run till it, so just the date that we purchased it, I think would be helpful, and the cost. Can you do that? Add
That's
two columns?
gonna take a lot of research.
You try. Oh, the date, you don't think the date that we bought it would
The
be?
date will be will be easy, and then going back to find out how much it costs will be
A little more
bit
difficult?
more difficult.
Okay, well, if it,
I can work on the date, and I'll see what I can do with
yeah, if the
cost.
dates look like it doesn't matter what the cost was because it's 20 years ago, that's fine?
Yeah.
Okay?
May I ask, on page 33, the Parks and Cemetery Department, the last entry, the bucket truck, it says runs okay but not rounded, won't pass inspection, has a 35-foot boom, could use a 60-foot boom for a lot of our work such as tree work. Are we going to fix this so it does, so it will pass inspection?
The
At least it's not rounded.
the inspection part is if it were if it was a Westar vehicle and for electrical work on it wouldn't be fit to be put on the Westar lot.
Is it
Because it's
safe
not
for our
rounded?
guys?
It
Because
won't
it's
pass
not
the
rounded?
dielectric test.
Yeah.
Is it safe for our
What
guys,
like it?
Bill?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the boom and everything if you get an electric current.
It's pretty, they have a pretty stiff inspection for it. I've had electric boom trucks where they wouldn't pass it for a crack in the side of the bucket itself, and it's a.
Okay, well, my question was, why would we spend the money on a 60-foot boom to take the place of our 35-foot boom if it doesn't pass inspection or if it's unsafe and we were going to be selling it in 5 years? That was my question.
What do you, okay.
Well, we're not going to do anything with it till 2022.
And yeah, that's the idea. In 2022, we would look to replace it with a
Right.
60-foot.
So we will have use of it for 4 years because we're selling in the 5th year. So are we going to, surely, if we're going to replace that boom, we're going to do it soon because
No, you replace the whole truck.
You replace the whole vehicle.
The whole truck
He's saying
with
when
a
we get a
60-foot.
new, if we get a
Oh,
new
okay.
truck,
Yeah.
he wants
That
a
wasn't
60.
clear to me.
Yes.
Then.
It
Yes.
wasn't clear to me. I thought you were going to replace the 35-foot boom with buying a 60.
Nope, it would
That's
take
what your
a larger
request is for
truck.
the new
And I don't
truck.
think
Okay.
they need a 60-foot boom either. I think a 40 or 45 would be plenty tall enough.
All right. Thank you, Austin.
Thanks, Bill.
All right, go back to that. Financials. I had spending in the general fund was almost 10,000 below, down from the month of August, so that was I saw that as positive. I looked back, and spending was down, and that's what we're kind of trying to do. Water and sewer funds are still increasing in balance. Sewer got a small boost from decreased expenditures, but it just evened itself out from the month before. From there, the increased expenditures there, so we're kind of sitting good there. Sales tax fund is looking really good, sitting at over $1.1 million. This will change once we get our big projects through, but other than that, we're looking pretty good in the sales tax. Overall,
That January hurt us though, because we got 40,000 less than last year. So we have that carried forward. 40,000 is a lot of money.
Right.
And we didn't make that up yet in any month, so.
But still, we're in pretty good shape, and we didn't have to go out for a loan this year.
Yeah, I mean, that
That's good.
1.1, but we're gonna be using that on the clink and transportation alternatives, the crosswalk, and what else we use it for?
Let's see.
Aren't we getting reimbursed for some of that?
Yeah, but I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
but the money's going, like, the clink is a $500,000 project, and we're only getting $300,000 from KDOT. So that's,
I guess those are the only two things left this year, so that's good.
yeah.
But the clink is one of those things that reimbursement projects, we have to pay the 511 and then they reimburse us, 551, and then they pay us back. Clink's a reimbursement project.
They're paying us $300,000 back.
Yeah, but we have to have the 611 up front.
Yeah.
They're quick
Yes,
about it,
yes,
551
yes.
up front, it was 551?
We have to pay, I think we have to pay for the project, and then they'll pay us.
Yes, and they're quick about it, like they don't just,
Oh, it says 588 right now, so. Anyway, we have the money.
okay, yeah, we have the money. But they're quick to reimburse us, so like we're down for that project, and then they
Well, I
turn
know
around and give us
FAA,
$300,000
is it Clink
back.
that
I mean, they don't
fast?
wait months. They just,
KDOT waits till the project's done though.
Yeah.
They-
well, and that's
Yeah.
okay. I can
And
see that.
FAA comes the next day you request it, pretty much.
FAA does it on percentage of completion where Clink is the project has to be done.
Who do we work there offered?
Okay. Last item on the list is the Christmas party, and we were planning the Christmas party, and right now we've been talking with Land All Lanes, and they're working up a good deal for us. Basically, sounds like they might be closing the place down for us for the project, for the party, but they only have 2 dates open, December 2nd or December 16th. And we've got at least half of everybody's response, and just want to get everybody else's response, if not today, within this week, so we can.
So are you, just everybody gets one vote and you do it that way, or how are you doing it?
Pretty much, we want to get as many people as possible, as many of you guys there as possible. I know it's not going to work for everybody, and we don't.
So are we supposed to say what our preference is?
Yes. Yeah, and just.
Do you have a preference? December 2nd or 16th?
I don't have a preference now.
Bill?
Doesn't make me any difference.
Darlene?
And second. I already said I'll give you the second date.
You can only do the 16th. Okay.
16th.
I believe I sent Debbie as well. I think I said the 16th was the only one. I looked at my calendar.
Do you have a preference? You get one vote, Vic. Come on.
She's ceding her vote to me. That's 2 from the 16th.
Well, I'm torn here. I wanted the 16th too, but Darlene told me I needed to vote for the 2nd. Because she can't go on the 16th. So it's pretty
You have to
chipper.
sit beside. Think about that.
Well, I have to sit beside him. 16th.
Debbie?
Doesn't make any difference to me.
Okay, I don't have a preference either.
Okay.
You're going to let us know as soon as possible on
Yes,
that?
yes.
Okay.
We'll have a meeting with Land All Lanes personnel, and we'll get it nailed down.
Okay.
When you said, pardon me, when you said they're going to close the place down, are you telling me that they're going to let us use the lanes? Is that part of the price that we're paying to rent it out? It's
Yeah.
closed to the public that
Yeah,
night?
we're going to work on the details, but that's what it sounds like.
Do we pay to bowl, or that's part of the price that you're paying? You
I
get
think
it
it's-
so free.
I think
Is
it
it
might.
Christmas bowling? Interesting.
Christmas bowling.
You we wear hats?
We're still discussing the details. And-
Okay. Just let us know maybe on the highlights.
Yep.
Okay. Are you done or is there anything else?
I think that
I
was
do
all.
like your charts.
Thank you.
Okay. You think you're done?
I think I'm done.
Okay.
My turn.
Your turn.
I only have one item tonight, and just bringing this up to see if you want to proceed forward or do anything with the opening and closing of graves. The last time this policy was changed was in 2006, and since then, our contract with B&W Electric has increased. It started at $200 and now they're charging $275. So I sent out a listserv and I put those responses toward the bottom of page 44. You can see kind of what other cities are charging. Right now, for an adult, we charge $400, children $90, urn, other caskets, ashes $50. And just wondering if you think that we should change it or keep it the same.
I have a question. On your listserv results, are we the only ones that break it out in so much detail, or is this just kind of a synopsis of your listserv results? You know what I mean?
Yeah, there were only a few cities that did it the same way we did.
I was surprised
So,
how detailed we have it.
Yeah, we do have it
Yes,
detailed.
I've been fortunate not to have to
Deal with
add
it.
more.
I did visit with Dale today, and we do our own urns. We dig our own urns, so we don't get charged for those.
Good. Okay, that was my question. So, or what does their crew do, B&W do, and what do we do? Our men do?
Our guys do the urns, so we don't get charged for that. And then B&W, it's up to their discretion on babies.
But I know our guys, though, they're there when there's a funeral. Don't they do something after?
I don't know if they close or help close or what, but I'm not positive about that.
I'm not positive if they close or not.
I think they're always there.
I was going to say, I
And
think
then also Debbie told me that B&W charges $100 for their child now.
Too high?
Where
And
it
babies, they kind of
was
use at their discretion.
listed as 90 is what we had for.
Our guys have to settle the graves, plant the, all that goes on top of just the charge B&W has just for digging the grave.
Yeah.
And we have to settle and put the mats out that we buy, and have the grass and all of that.
Okay.
We pay overtime because a lot of people are on the weekend.
So we pay overtime to have our guys there? Okay.
Our guys, because they have to be
So we could start, take what, we obviously doubled it when we did this in '06. Do you want to double?
Would you consider letting the Cemetery and Airport Committee work it a little bit and bring a proposal?
Oh,
Yeah.
I would do that as long as.
I think we ought to find out what Seneca and Sabetha and Belleville and places around us charge. I think Monterey Springs is a little far.
But I
Some of
think
these
we
places
also-
I've never even heard of.
But we also have to take into account, well, we have to pay B&W.
Right.
And
Correct.
then,
Right.
and then our people,
I was just going to say, it looks like we doubled it
Overtime.
last time. Whatever they charged us, it looks like we doubled in our policy statement. But yeah, so I want to first thank Debbie for doing this, to get the
Yes,
list
thank you,
of
Debbie.
stuff for us to present it rather
Yes,
than
thank
just starting
you.
with a blank.
Good job.
And
So,
I would ask on the B&W, are we on like an annual contract or, okay. When does that renew? Is it
I think
calendar
we
year?
just
Just
did.
did it.
That's what I was trying to
just did it.
remember. If I remember seeing it, but I can't remember when it was.
Yeah. just
So
did it.
Cemetery and Parks will bring a recommendation to us for the next
Cemetery
meeting?
Airport.
Cemetery Airport? Is that all right with everybody? Next meeting? All right, thank you very much. And,
That's it.
okay. So we will go to committee reports. Talking about concrete a little bit today, we have some concrete work, and I had Austin go out and look at Hometown Drive. We have some concrete there that's caving in. We have some concrete caving in at Ashbury Lane. It has a big pit right there where Timber Creek and Ashbury Lane combine. And I'm asking that he build that into the fall schedule for the street crew to replace where he can. He also, I should address too, the crack seal. He said that they can put that crack seal in the cement and protect the cement, and some of them just have cracks that are gonna get worse if we don't. And we made the motion, we made the motion to buy a crack sealer if we found one at a good price. But with the price of concrete, we said we would do it up to what price? Do you remember?
I want to say it was 12,000.
Up to 12, and what's a going rate for one?
14 or 15.
And I'm thinking, this is something to protect our concrete, and...
No, I think you approved 8, because there was one, it was a good deal. We found one at the surplus for a good deal, and it was like...
We couldn't act on it because it was sold too quickly.
Yeah,
so
it was like $8,000.
So are you keeping your eye on that to see if there's
He was supposed to notify us anytime one of those...
Purple Wave?
No, it wasn't Purple Wave, it was Nebraska State. Yeah.
Well, so, but we can crack seal all year long, right?
No. It's better in the cooler weather.
So we can crack seal now. So I kind of think to protect the cement, the concrete, cement, we need to crack seal that instead of just letting it worse and worse. But I want you guys to drive out through Hometown and see how it's crumbled, Hometown Drive and Ashbury Lane and Timber Creek. And I think we have to do some of the, Austin said we can do specific squares. He said it had to be 5 feet, at least 5 feet squares.
Well, we can do squares, yes.
Okay, so anyway, but I'm really hoping that you guys in agreement to get the street crew working on that?
If anybody hasn't seen it, yeah, I am. They're bad.
And I think we'll have more work before we're done out there. I think we'll fix what's there now, and then in a couple of years, we'll fix some more.
Yeah, and some of them, they do just...
I know.
Some of them, we just have the cracks, though, in them, and if we can get a crack sealer, we
might
can...
preserve it for a while.
Yeah. So, do we want to go ahead and bite the bullet, have him bring some bids for crack sealers
I
next
think we
meeting?
should take some bids, because you
Absolutely.
could wait forever for a used one, and...
We kind of hope one would
Well,
pop up in a week.
next year we put it in the budget to buy a crack sealer
But I think
for that price.
since this is
for
the
new
time
price.
to use it, we should get it.
Well, assuming the street department has, with everything else they got on their schedule, if you wanted to replace concrete, will they be able to do that and...
And protect the cracks.
Yeah, but again, if you think of the cost benefit ratio, $15,000 now to save
$7,000.
whatever it is a square, it feels like it's probably a good investment. It was $50,000 maybe.
The crack sealing is a time-consuming thing, and we did it for one. It took us quite a bit of time to get it done.
I know you did it for the crack and seal route.
Yeah, for the chip and seal route. It takes some time, and to fit it in, I would recommend we get the concrete squares done this fall, and then get the crack sealer next year, like we planned. Because right now, throwing it all at our street crew.
Yeah, that's hard on them.
They're already doing concrete work and all this other stuff. Get the thing. We can get those squares.
So when I asked,
in
or
there.
I had Austin go look at it, I said, I just wanted to know, do you know of any concrete street that looks worse than these? And he said, no. So I said, we need to focus on these, so, okay?
Well, what's out at Hometown Lumber? The worst part of the ones that, it's not just cracked, they're caved in. They're caved in and holding water.
Hometown Drive.
Hometown Drive, yeah.
Something
that
underneath.
Yeah,
development.
there's that one out at Keystone too, that development too.
Keystone?
Yeah, that one you showed me.
That was in Keystone on Ashbury Lane and Timber Creek. And the other thing is, when it was raining real hard, I went out to look at our drainage on 11th Road, and the rain on Keating Drive on the south side of the road shoots out into the street where they had just put cold mix patch. We need to tear down we're at that corner and divert it to the drainage
Yeah.
ditch, because right now it's shooting right out to the street. And they just cold patched it like the day before, and I was like, here we already So right there, whatever it takes to get it back that way.
Well, don't we, that's private drive, don't we have to ask the owners of that
That's our
development?
easement.
Is it our easement?
It's right, isn't that our easement to redirect that water at the corner?
I thought that they owned that.
It's not in the development. It's right where Keating and 11th Road intersect. There's grass and stuff, and instead of making it go in the ditch, it shoots it, so we need to ditch it down. Okay? Those are my, anybody else have street?
On the street,
Yes.
down there by Tension, there's a storm sewer there. We put up a barricade there. It's that one storm sewer right just to the east of Tension there, or to the west of Tension. There was a barricade put up there. Well, the people that parked down there must have moved it back up on the curb. It's clear back up on the curb, and they're still parking right there. There's a bad spot there that the city had put a little barricade
What
there.
do we put a barricade for?
It's probably,
Well, this,
The
right
man,
before
it's for the
by-
manhole?
No, no.
The storm
sewer,
drain.
storm drain.
Oh.
The concrete's broke up there. Well, I think the people that are parked there have moved the barricade back out of the road so they could still park there.
Okay, so
Because it's sitting on the parking,
at
it
the
ain't
storm
doing no
base.
good, it ain't blocking anything.
At the storm basin right there? Okay, all right. Anything else? Okay, water, wastewater, my only question was, I read the highlights, is the pool winterized, is it ready to go?
they were working on, they drained it, they were cleaning it up. It's not fully taken care of, but it's,
Before it freezes?
yeah, they're getting it taken care of.
And the Diamond Bright people are coming out to look at it?
They never did. They said they were coming on the way to Omaha, and they just, and then I went on sick leave, and
Oh,
they-
baby leaves, okay.
yeah, and then they never came in when they
Keep
said they
after
would.
Yeah, keep after them, don't let it wait till the spring. Okay,
On sewer or water and wastewater, do we have a recurrent sewer problem at 13th and Oak? I don't know if anybody else been contacted by a homeowner up there who's had problems with, they think where are they, I don't know if there's a junction or what, 13th and Oak.
is Oak south of the high school?
It's above the high school, yeah, it's south, first block south of Spring.
It's on a slant right there.
Yeah, that they've had
Heather lives on that
recurrent
corner.
sewage block up things. They said they've called City Hall and they haven't, feel like they haven't gotten a response on it, so.
Is that the
help
one
me.
that we looked at something else along there at 13th and Oak? Did they have other problems that they
This
came
is
here?
just the sewer. They've had the plumber have to come back and they think there's a broken line or something on the city side that's causing the problem or something's collapsed.
Do you know
And
anything
so I
about
said,
that?
well, I would bring it up, so.
13th and Oak. I don't know anything about that,
Heather
no one's
lives
told me.
on the southeast side of that intersection. She hadn't said anything to me.
Okay,
Okay.
you'll find out? Okay, anything else? Parks and Rec, I think we need to, we'll include this diagram that Dave created for us. Is this okay to discuss now?
That's fine.
Do you want to discuss this?
I mean, I can. It's, you guys had the discussion of, or approved, at the last meeting, you guys approved going forward, putting in electricity for lighting the park by on the Kester blocks. And this is a diagram of what it would take possibly to get it lighted, and if we're gonna light it, we're gonna plan for the future as well. So this diagrams all the lines that would be needed, and all the boxes and junctions, and the estimated costs as well. And for supplies alone, we're estimating about $2,500 to $3,000 to just get the electricity to all the places that would be necessary. And that does not include labor or the renting of a trencher.
So we just want to make sure you guys were aware that that's the cost. You know, we voted to do it, and then when Dave started preparing it, he came up with these numbers, and I said, well, we should at least let you guys know.
Does he have time to do all, I mean, I know he wants to do it right, but I think this is probably more than what we do. Does he have time to get this done? That seems like a lot.
Seems like he's got a
This
lot on
seems
his
like a
plate.
lot
Yeah.
to try to get done
Depends how many-
between.
He picked up a helper that might be able to get it done faster than him just doing it himself.
A volunteer.
A volunteer.
So, are you guys okay with this cost?
Well, I want to know how much the trencher's going to cost and how many days we're going to have it. That's going to add handily to that.
One, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe
One
two.
day?
But the money coming out of what, special parks? What was that coming out of?
I don't think we have that much in special parks, do
That's
we?
what I'm trying to,
I wouldn't,
I didn't think it was that much. The question I have is on this volunteer, we don't have any liability concerns with volunteers, do we? Just, you know,
It says on
crossing
a
T's
waiver.
and
Well, I
dotting
guess we
I's.
did, we have 22,000 in special parks.
Well, since we're doing
You
electrical
know
work
anything
with a
else?
volunteer.
where's,
Something else going out there?
Are you
No, it's not going, no, I'm not. It's not going to be hot.
We
Oh, I
haven't used
know.
that enough fireworks, but that won't be till next
Oh,
year.
next year. You know anything?
I don't know. We paid for all the rubber mulch and
It's like $40 a day to rent a trencher.
What do you?
no, we don't. Oh yeah, 22,000.
So
You don't have to use it all.
Can equip
You could
just
say
allow us to
something.
use it?
I didn't
We
see-
rip one out, yes.
Should do that as a community
I
thing.
think, if I remember right, I think it's like $40 a day, I'm not sure.
Well,
To rent a trencher?
Talk to
That's all?
Brendan. Maybe he'd do it for the community.
I'm not sure.
We did the Kester Museum, it was $200.
All for it.
There we go, 200. Okay.
Well, we
Oh, that
have,
wasn't a trencher.
Oh, I thought that was.
No, that
we,
was.
we have special parks here. We had 10,000 for capital outlay. I don't know how much of that we've used. So it shows we have 22,000 still in there, so special parks probably couldn't carry it.
22,000? 2,200.
22,000.
Well, let's take it out of there. We haven't used it. My gosh, it's
Well, it seems an
October.
appropriate use to me.
It sure does.
Lakeview stuff, is that all out of
Yeah, what else do we have to do at Lakeview?
there? Parking and all that, or?
Are we doing that drainage thing this year?
I could have swore it was in next year's budget. I'd have to look.
I thought we had part this year and part next year. Anybody remember?
I know we were gonna look at parking.
Well, this is
drainage.
just 10% of that. Why shouldn't we take it out of there?
Okay, well, I just wanted you to know.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Well, keep it, I don't know if we made that motion now on the special parks. I think we did. Does that sound right to you?
We didn't, I don't think there was any,
We didn't, we just said
name a
to
source.
do it?
Just to proceed, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's cost.
There were no costs or anything at that time.
And maybe it wasn't even, but we just had a general
Yeah.
consensus that we
Yeah,
wanted to
well,
go.
no, to get to here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a general consensus, well, here, this is
You
what
want
we
a
talked about.
motion?
Let's see. Let's see. Motion carried unanimously at the Custer House after confirming that Richardson, that the electric department could be completed in the desired time frame to approve the request as outlined in the chamber letter. So we, without a dollar amount or without a fund. That's how we approved it. The request is outlined. So we don't have a final number on this, but we could say up to 3,500 or something like that, and take it out of special parks.
Yeah.
Somebody want to make that motion?
Move to take $3,500 out.
Up to 3,500?
Up to $3,500 out of special parks to do the electrical work in the Kester House gazebo park for electrical.
Is there a
Updating
second?
electrical.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any other discussion?
Yeah, I got a question. I don't see anywhere where Dale put this in conduit. And Dave put this in conduit. And if he didn't, the cost is gonna go up.
Do you know?
But it should be in conduit.
We said he was gonna do it in conduit.
Yep, but it doesn't say anything anymore.
Instead
I'll
of just
double
using
check.
that wire from Barry without conduit.
So how much more would conduit be?
Probably another $1,000.
Another $1,000?
So that's where you covered the 30.
Well, we're up to 3,500. If you find out it's gonna be more than that, for sure, will you bring it back to council?
Yep.
Okay, but you want it in conduit, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Plus, if you can't equip volunteers with trencher, that would save us some.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I'm getting confirmation on it right now.
Okay, so the
Okay,
motion is,
I got 225 for 2 days or 150 for 1 day.
There you go.
225 for 2 days, okay. All right, so we have a motion for up to $3,500 for the electrical project out of special parks, assuming it's conduit, assuming it's conduit at this time.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. Thank you very much. Okay, did anybody else have anything in Parks and Rec? Okay, cemetery and airport. Is that machine working in the rain? I was gonna go see it at the airport.
I don't know if they got to work today.
You think they'll do it tomorrow? I wanna see it. He said, did you read what he said? Did you say it in the highlights?
It would, what I'm really interested in, they're gonna chip off the top or level out the base with the machine that was up there now. And what I was really interested in was if it all works out to plan, Thursday and Friday, they're gonna bring in their concrete machine. Where normally you would see concrete with wooden forms along the side, forming up the sides, they will be just using a machine and strings alongside to guide, and as you see the concrete coming out the back, it's just formed already.
So more like hot mix.
Yeah,
Like
it
streams
is.
Yeah.
without running over?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you have time, go to the airport. But
Yeah.
later this week, Thursday, Friday.
Later this
is what
week
you're
is
thinking?
when they planned on it, if the weather works out for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kinda wanted to go see it. Anything else in cemetery and airport? Police and fire, I want to say congrats to our police department. Did you guys read in the highlights where they did CPR to this guy and brought him back to life on Friday the 29th? So thank you, police department, that's awesome. Did you read this?
Oh, yeah.
And regarding the fire, I just want to say that the program for Jack Butler was very nice, well-attended. You guys, there was a well-attendance from the council, the public, and the program was extremely nice. So I was really glad that Dave worked on that. Anything else on police and fire?
Yeah, did we get anywhere with finding out if the police could, under any circumstances, patrol Keating Drive?
It's I guess, the equal substance that we were bringing up was that they could go on to Walmart parking lot and enforce, but all they can do on Walmart parking lot is the fire lane and the handicap parking. That's all.
That's all they can do?
That's all they can do.
At this point in time, what we want to do is look up, and we talked about this, was we need, or did I talk to you about you, that we need to look at the documents and figure out why it was initially presented as a private drive for public use, and if whatever those parameters were, that time period has lapsed, we could go ahead and convert it if we choose to put it on as a city street.
I mean, I'd like to see us patrol it. I don't know that we want to take over maintenance, although it is a very nice looking street.
I was
still
gonna
don't want to take over maintenance for it.
Yeah, well, the flip side of that, though, is we do the maintenance on every other street in town.
Sure.
Yeah, so, anyway, we'll see what the parameters on why it was made that way in the first place, and then we can make a better decision.
This is just like the Bulldog Apartments, as far as I'm concerned. This is a private drive that requires public access. It goes all the way up. You don't even see a difference where it goes into Bulldog Apartments. Why? This is a rental property, privately owned. They're getting rent. Why would we take over this street and not take over the Bulldog Apartments or anybody else who asks us to take over a private street?
Well, we'd probably take over both at the same time.
Oh, nightmare.
Okay. Okay, well, we'll see if we can find out some information first before we talk nightmare. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Admin and finance, the only thing I want to say is we talked a little bit about Muni Court last time, and I spoke with Debbie and Austin, I believe, and on the court fees, they charge $41.50, and the court fees range all over the place. But that's something that we as a council get to determine. So there's Debbie gave me a list, and the court fees range all over the place. The other thing that we have control over is the judge's salary. We went from 2 sessions to 1 per month, so we can think about that. The other thing is the community service fee. If you don't want to do the community service, you pay a fee of $5 per hour. That we can change. And the last thing to point out is the court receivables. Debbie found out that they have $116,000 in court receivables. So I asked for an aging of those to know of how many of them are really, really old. I also asked what's at the state set off. Year-to-date, we have a net loss in Muni Court of $13,000. So we can't control what the judge's fines are, but those 4 pieces we can control. They said there was 245 cases this year so far. So, even if you went up $10, you're only going to generate $24.50 of revenue. So it's something that I think maybe, Austin, if you want to make a recommendation for us based on those things, what you would think would be a reasonable adjustment, if any?
When were the fees last adjusted?
Revised, yeah.
I don't know that answer. Do you have any idea? The $41.50? Because some of them were like $80.
Well, that $5 an hour community service fee is less than minimum wage.
I
It's like halfway low.
know. And so that's something we can change.
I would say, let's go back to Todd's point earlier, let's maybe put recommendation in front of admin and finance, and then we'll come back.
Yeah, with the schedule of recommendations.
Been that for a while, so it's probably a good.
Instead of putting it on Austin, you want it admin and finance?
Let's have admin and finance meet
Okay.
and go through it.
The 4 of us.
Yeah.
Okay, just so we can kind of wrap our hands around a little bit. Okay, that's all I had on admin and finance. Anybody else got something? All right, we have appointments. They're on the last page 46. The first 2, the Convention and Tourism Committee and the Library Board, those came from their recommendations. The Planning Commission Dave called them and asked if they'd be willing to do 2nd and 3rd term. So those are all the appointments as of tonight that I would
Move
appreciate.
to approve the mayor's appointments.
Second. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. Thank you very much. They'll be all excited. And City Attorney, you're up.
This is on the issue of the Lee Dam Center being a named beneficiary on a Fidelity IRA account for the estate of John Lynch. I had a couple of questions that was discussed last time. One was if this estate is in probate, in other words, in the middle of a court proceeding, and if an executor was appointed to administer the estate. And then I also wanted to touch base with a representative from Fidelity. It does not look like there is any estate open in probate court or an executor appointed. In speaking with a representative from Fidelity, what I was told was in a situation such as this where a beneficiary is named on an account of theirs that is not capable of receiving such money because it's building without a tax ID, that any entity or I suppose individual making a claim in such a situation, there's a protocol, a procedure that they require that it is a letter of instruction, is what the words he used, from that entity or person making a claim. It then goes to their, what he dubbed as their risk team, which I think is a less ominous word for a legal team, to determine if that letter is good enough to go ahead and just send the money that way, pursuant to that claim. Or if they need more, which may or may not include a court order, so some sort of probate action to get that court order. My understanding as it relates to this specific amount of money, they have not evaluated, they being Fidelity has not evaluated any letter from any entity. But it's possible that maybe one is forthcoming from the MCAC in that effort. So I didn't really gain, maybe a whole lot of new information, but I think ruled out some things that might have been impediments to Fidelity. I guess the city, if it wants to intervene and make its own claim, would have that right and do the same thing that MCAC is, I think, at least considering. Now, I don't know that for sure. I did not get any confirmation from a representative, whether that was Sharon Ekus or somebody else at MCAC, as to where they're at, but Fidelity seemed to indicate that they have not received anything. Their legal team has not evaluated anything from anybody in that regard. So, I mean, I can try to answer more questions. I don't want to step outside maybe my scope of what I'm supposed to do here. I certainly don't want to advise the city of any sort of non-legal decision. That's not my job.
Well, so did they tell you it was made out to Leadham Art Center?
Yes, yeah, they confirmed that.
And
we know that can't, it's gonna have to go somewhere else. I don't, let's say hypothetically, I guess I could have, but I didn't get this answer, and I'm not sure this particular representative would have been able to answer it. But let's say nobody makes a claim. I don't know what they do. I don't know how long they wait. I don't know.
It goes
Maybe does
away.
somebody just sit there? Do they?
Go to the state
goes
secretary
away.
of state's office. Is that-
Potentially.
there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
potentially, it would get
But
remitted
that's
to
a
the
number of
state.
years.
No, it ends in December, isn't that right, Brad? If this is a result?
Well, that's.
Well, a year. It was
That
a year.
might be the,
He didn't indicate any kind of urgency. I'm not saying that that's not the case. It might be, and it may be all the more reason for somebody to take action.
did they tell you how much it was?
No, he did not.
4,000.
Okay, well, you don't know that for sure, Vic.
Do you
I
know-
think what
do
we
you know
need to
Sharon?
do, I think what we need to do is go ahead and file a claim to request the money, and then we distribute it.
But so the other option is to let MCAC vote. So I'm just throwing that out.
Well, MCAC isn't the Leadham Art Center, right? The Leadham.
We pay half.
We-
We pay half of all the costs. so
I know, but
we
you
are-
lease the building from the city. The city owns the building, correct? Yeah. So I think we should file the claim because we own the building.
Is it the MCAC's preference to do it themselves rather than channel it through the city?
Well, the process has already been started, so
Well,
if you're
okay.
going to start
That's
the
why.
process over again,
You don't
we
want the
do have an
clock to restart.
application that was ready to be submitted
Okay.
with a letter.
But you don't even know for sure the exact dollar amount. I think we would be foolish not to be the processor since we're the owner of the building.
I'd rather see it go through the MC.
They've already done
They've
everything
already
but submitted.
done it.
Huh?
I think they've already started it.
Yeah.
Why should we get into a battle over?
but they don't have a tax ID number. That's,
Are they?
MCAC? Oh, yeah, we're nonprofit. We have
but I thought that was,
Yeah, I thought that was
The building doesn't have a tax
The
ID.
Leadham Art Center.
yeah,
just
so,
a-
and it's
So it
ordered,
couldn't be-
and it's owned by the city, so that's
Well,
where the tax number.
where
needs
it
to be.
should or shouldn't go, I guess, is, for any claimant to weigh in on, whether that's the city of Marysville or the MCAC or somebody else, and what Fidelity decides. And it may decide nothing. It may say, yeah, this is obviously a disputed claim, we're gonna let a court figure this out.
No, we don't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't, I mean, the city could incur costs there that would
Yeah, it would waste the money that this man's trying to give to this place where he used to go to church.
Potentially. I don't think anybody, well, I don't know, I shouldn't presume, but I would imagine nobody really wants that to happen.
No,
But, I mean, it's entirely possible that either the city or MCAC submits a letter of instruction, as he labeled it,
And
and
a copy of a death certificate.
and they still say it's not sufficient, their legal team says it's not sufficient. I would hope that they come back and say, this is what we need for it to be sufficient, but
I don't have a problem with MCAC having this money if we have assurance that all the money's going on the art center. And I think, haven't we already spent money to put a new air conditioning in there and we know it needs new heat? Have we done that?
It's all, we're doing all of it.
Okay, so I'm saying, why not have this money reimbursed? Once MCAC has the money, have them reimburse the city for those improvements on the
We're
health.
already paying half, so
They're-
it would
they're
have gone
paying-
to our half of the money would have gone to pay for the half.
Well, then why not have it pay all? So the taxpayers
Why not
are
just
free of
have it
that.
pay
We have
half
a,
what
we have a
we agreed?
contract, we have a contract with MCAC for them to pay the inside and us to pay the outside.
Okay, so the thing is, if we get the inheritance, then we are made whole again on that. And if you get the inheritance, then what you're gonna do is apply it to what MCAC paid on it? Okay, I don't like that.
Well, I think the key thing is, aren't we paying for the furnace and the air conditioning?
We're paying for the ACs outside.
But aren't we paying for it outright and they're reimbursing us?
Yeah.
For half. I think they should reimburse for whole. It's a city-owned building. We can be made whole here.
Wait. We've already agreed to that. That's part of the lease agreement. We pay
Yeah,
one, they pay
but
the other.
this would be our money. This would be money to the city that we could do what we want.
I think it's worth bearing in mind that they've done all the legwork so far and that they are a nonprofit organization serving the community. So it's not like they're, we're not giving it to some profit-taking enterprise that doesn't help serve us in another way.
I don't think there's $1 million there.
There's not, but I'm saying, this is money that we have spent that we could be reimbursed for, because it all went on the art center.
Well, I
You see what I'm
initially
saying?
thought, a long time ago, said, why don't we get the money and the city split it 50/50 with the MCAC between the furnace and the air conditioning? And
That'd
then
be
it's a
fine with me,
win-win
but
for everybody.
Sounds like what you're saying is, we've already spent it and we agreed to pay half. Well, they're not paying our half, they're only paying the MCAC half out of that.
That's all they're supposed to pay.
That's all we're supposed to pay.
Okay, then I'm gonna play the devil's advocate here. This is a city-owned building. The man wanted it to go on this building. This is how, $4,000?
Well, see, that's the whole thing.
That we've spent on the heating and air conditioning.
About $14,000 or $15,000
$14,000 or $15,000?
for the heating and air conditioning.
By half.
Divided.
Right, 14,000?
Approximately half of
Okay,
that.
7,000. We could use that money. We could use it. If we take that, then I'm sorry. That's taxpayer money and it's a gift. It's a gift
Well,
to this
you know,
center.
this is the one thing that is hardest for me about giving to MCAC, is that MCAC is more than the Lee Dam Art Center. I think that these people wanted the money to go to the Lee Dam Art Center. So there's
Right.
no way to know how they spend that money unless we get the money and apply it to their air conditioning heating thing.
And that's what I'm saying. We're still paying for half of it, but now we have extra money to pay for it.
Okay, but you apply it to their portion.
I agree, but not just their portion. Both portions, the city's half and the MCAC half.
To go back and say 50/50, whatever it is, against the air conditioning and furnace?
Yes. And then if there's more money, I thought, somebody told me $4,000. But if it's more money than that, then that can go toward future repairs of the, do you have your board of directors approval to do this? But if y'all get the money, Sharon, if y'all get the money, if you get all of it, have you got approval of the board for y'all to speak and make this decision that all of this money, $15,000, whatever it may be, all of it goes, once it's in your possession, nothing says you have to spend it on the art center. You might say, we've changed our mind. Don't think that would ever happen, but I'm saying, do you have the boards, can you speak for the board? And
Yeah, I'm
say,
the president.
okay, so you can speak. They can't vote and say, we didn't want him to do that.
Do what?
To spend all the money, whatever this bequeath
No,
is.
it's been discussed in multiple meetings, it's in the minutes. Yeah, we can provide the minutes where it's been discussed to move to put this money towards the air conditioning.
Okay.
Oh, well, you have never
Okay.
shared that.
Yeah, he did.
Well, that's.
Yeah, I did.
When did
I've
you
said
share
it several
that?
times.
Said it the last meeting.
Yeah, I've said it every time we've talked about it.
I've heard you say that, but then I found out that we've already
Yeah.
paid for that.
No, I've said every time we were going to use the money to pay for the air conditioning.
Okay, but just your half, just MCAC's half?
Yeah.
Or half what?
No, our half. It's the money
Why should
was,
MCAC benefit then from this bequeath?
Because they're managing the.
let's go back.
They get the money if they have parties and other things, they get income from that building.
They aren't taking a profit.
That much.
What do you get paid for being president, Brad?
Zero. Mr. Lynch's daughter had the memorial service at the Art Center, and she approached Sharon, who's here, if you have any questions, about being the beneficiary of this request, or whatever you want to call it. And so Sharon has done the legwork to work with Fidelity to get the applications, to get their approval, find out what information was needed. So she approached us. We didn't know anything about it until the daughter approached us.
Okay, but what it's doing is benefiting you. It's
not
benefiting
benefiting
your
me.
organization. Why should it
benefiting the
also
community.
benefit the city that
It's
owns
been
the
benefiting
building?
the community. We don't,
But you only want to pay half. You want all the money that you get to go to your half and not any
I
of it
think
to...
it's time to change the subject and go on to something
We gotta
else.
make a decision.
Do we need a motion?
All we need is a motion.
I'll make a motion that the money received from Fidelity is handled by MCAC, and that if they want to spend half of it on the air conditioner and heating, that's fine.
What do you mean half of it? You don't even know what the money is.
I don't care.
I say,
Wait.
go ahead.
Wait, so your motion is to allow MCAC to claim the money. That's
Right.
basically your motion. Okay. And they can do with it what they want, because we have no control
I
of it
would
at that point.
second that, but I would also like to add to that that we would hope that they would spend it on this project and future Lee Dam Center projects.
A caveat to that?
I
Okay,
mean, that's
fine.
That's non-binding.
okay, so the
But that
motion,
would be their choice to do.
We're correct. They would handle it.
You're saying 100% of that, right?
No, just, we're on the same page.
so the motion is, let me clarify, is for MCAC to claim the monies to be used for the Lee Dam Art Center at their discretion.
Correct.
Hopefully to be used at their discretion on the Lee Dam Art Center. Is that right?
Yeah, and I hope it is $1 million, so it helps everybody.
Okay, that's a first and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Let's get it done.
present.
Abstain. 6-0 present. Or abstain, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Lastly, I don't know of any executive session, so we're going to move on to roundtable, unless someone has other. I have a proclamation, whereas this year marks the 25th anniversary of Reflections, owned by Marvin and Sharon Kramer since September 1992, whereas Reflections is located in the historic Kester Block, owned by the city of Marysville, at 901 Broadway, and whereas from the early days to present, Reflections has been a Hallmark Gold Crown store featuring a bridal registry, sports products, personalized wedding invitations, gifts, cards, and much, much more. And whereas Reflections has been a place to shop for local citizens, surrounding citizens, business leaders, and friends, has been a thriving part of the downtown business community. And now, therefore, I, Carla Gredden, Mayor of the City of Marysville, Kansas, do hereby proclaim October 10th, 2017 as Reflections Day. I ask all citizens to join in celebrating this milestone and honoring this great achievement, along with extending my personal congratulations, Mayor Carla Gredden. I have a consensus that I can sign this?
That's nice.
And I would hope that you guys would go in and thank the Kramers for being there 25 years and being an asset to our community. All right. Hopefully you guys read about the library programs in the information packet. They have programs going almost every day. October 16th, they have a home budgeting program with Gay Frazee, so that should be good. Also, on October 16th is a candidate forum here at City Hall at 7 o'clock. And lastly, we received a thank you from the students, family, and friends from Bummer School. It says, we would like to thank the Parks and Cemetery Department for maintaining City Park and the area that includes the school and other historic buildings. Thank you for making it possible for Bummer School to continue to serve the public. And it is signed, I'm not sure who it was signed by.
Probably Jeannie.
Signed by friends and family of the Bummer School. So I just want to send that on to you guys. And that is all I have. Keith? Anything for roundtable?
No, nothing.
Bill?
Nope.
Darlene?
Nothing further.
Brad?
I just wanted to thank Michelle. Her summary for September, I sent her a note. I thought it was really good. It was easy to read, and that was very informative. So I told she and
It was.
Wayne that I thought that was very
Did you know
nice.
what that charrette means?
What's that?
That one word, C-H-A-R-E-T-T-E?
Oh, I missed that.
Do you know what that is?
Closely, so I don't remember
Yeah,
seeing
seems
that
like I was
word.
told it.
They were saying one of those charrettes, and I was like, I have no idea what this is.
It's an arts term.
I sent an email and say, okay, great summary, what does this word mean? So, is that all?
That's it.
Todd?
I just wanted to say I thought the police and fire did a great job with the pretty bad accident that was, what, a week and a half ago now?
On Sunday, the roll?
Yeah, the rollover accident in front of Valley Vet on 36. I know that's obviously tons of traffic, and I thought they were doing a really good job keeping traffic flowing and keeping people moving through there safely. And
Yeah.
with that much traffic, it's easy, I think, to have a second accident. And the fact that it went so smooth, I heard a lot of positive comments. They thought that
Well,
was
that's
really
good,
great.
and thankfully, nobody was hurt, so.
Right.
Graciously. Okay, Dick?
I wanted to say about the Jack Butler service here, that was so beautiful. I wanted to add that many of the police department, of the police officers were here, and we were well represented with our firefighters to be here to show their respect and appreciation of Jack Butler. Yeah, I think it meant a lot to his family.
I do
A lot of
too.
his family members were here, and I think it meant a lot to them to know that so many of us that have to do with the city showed up to show their appreciation for him. Then I would like to say the military flags were $323.11, and that cost was reimbursed by Greg Boss. The city paid for him, and he reimbursed the city. Thank you, Greg. And the chip and seal, I think it's finished, isn't it? Chip and seal finished? And I know that there had been an article put into the paper in editorials about how much dust it was. That's not the way it always happens. You know, we were in a bind because of the street sweeper being in for repair. And as soon as they got on that, and as soon as they scooped up the excess stuff, I live on two streets, one at 2nd Street and 3rd Street. I can sit in my backyard and just watch the dust do this. It doesn't do it anymore. So we took care of it. Sorry it took so long. For everybody who lives on a street, you couldn't keep your cars clean even if you didn't move them out of your drive. So I want to say thank you to our guys that finished up the chip and seal, and then I hope that everybody's pleased with the streets that they have to drive on now. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
For that improvement.
For
We've
the
made some improvement, yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, Denny?
I have nothing.
Okay, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn?
Is there a second?